Obviously, we have a big game this weekend because of a lot of reasons. If you win, every game gets to be more and more important. And after yesterday morning, when I got done watching every single one of their games on film, it was I had to go back and look at all the stats. In 5 of their games this year, they were either tied, ahead, or within 1 score of the teams they were playing at the start of the 4th quarter. So I thought they were much better than their record when I was watching the film. So when I went back and checked that stat, obviously they are much, much better than their 1-loss record, which in my business makes you nervous.
Is that a means of lack of depth? Are they getting tired in the 4th quarter? Did you notice anything that teams did against them in the 4th quarter?
No, there's usually a big play or two that happens, something that happens on special teams, a kickoff return back for a touchdown that kind of breaks the momentum, or a fumble or an interception here or there. But for most of the game, they're playing everybody very, very close and very, very. They're very physical. Their quarterback's a redshirt freshman. He's pretty good right now. He's going to be phenomenal. They've got 2 really good running backs. They're aggressive at the line of scrimmage. They've got 2 really good wide receivers. I mean, you can't. If you try to go by their record, you're making a huge mistake.
Coach, you talked about this being a big game for several reasons. Obviously, becoming bowl eligible being one of them, I would imagine. That would be pretty significant for San Diego State. I don't think it's ever happened before, if I'm understanding it correctly. Can you just speak to that?
Well, I think that we still have a chance. If we can win, we still have a chance at the conference championship. If we can win another game, we're bowl eligible, which would be the first time in school history for 3 years in a row. More important than that, we've won 3 in a row. And it's an interesting deal whenever you win a few games in a row, all of a sudden the next one becomes a lot more important. And if you don't handle it right, you set yourself up for failure.
Rocky, what are you losing going from Cass to Dingwell, if anything?
I think a little experience. Ryan Katz had played a lot more football as a starting quarterback at the Division I level. This will be Adam's first start. The way he played the other night, I mean, he played probably better than we thought he would play, and he had a phenomenal game. But as a coach, you always find the things to worry about. A lot of guys perform well when they're just thrown in there and they don't expect to play. They just go out there and know that it's their turn and it's their time, and they just play ball. Well, this week he's going to be trained. And he's, when he was getting 1 out of every 5 reps, now he's going to get 4 out of every 5 reps. He's going to know the game plan. He's going to know the defense they run. There's a lot more things that will be on his mind this week than were on his mind when he had to step in last week. Now we think he's going to be fine because he was cool, calm, and collected the other night. So we think he's going to be fine. But it's a different deal being the starting quarterback as compared to the guy off the bench.
And Coach, a big part of Adam's game is taking off and running. Is there a little worry about him doing that after what happened to Ryan?
No, I don't worry about that stuff. I mean, I don't think that's one of the good things. We don't have to change anything we do on offense because they're both basically the same kind of player. They both like to run with the ball. They both throw it pretty good. They do run with it pretty well. They're aggressive guys. They're tough guys. In my opinion only, if you've got a guy that's part of his game and you try to say don't do that, you're taking his game away from him. And he's been playing football. He's from Texas, so he's probably been playing football since he was 6 years old. And that's part of his game. You try to take that away from him, you're setting him up. And as a coach, you don't want to set him up. He's got to play like he plays.
Coach, how did you guys come to sort of recruit Adam Dingwander? I mean, do you often recruit a lot of Texas kids?
We don't recruit a lot of Texas kids, but we have a presence in Texas. We have 2 coaches that go to Texas every year. But most times we recruit players other than California kids. We canvass. We go to we canvass every high school in the state of California. We canvass every high school in the state of Arizona and Nevada. Other than that, it's people that show an interest in us or a specific position that we start looking nationwide for. And we always look for quarterbacks nationwide. And it was a little bit of we found him and he found us at the same time. He showed interest in us, and after we watched him on high school tape, we had interest in him.
Coach, you talked about some things that might make you nervous. Are you nervous at all about your team after such a big win having a letdown and or overlooking UNLV?
Yeah, that's I made that statement that if you don't prepare the right way or if you don't handle success the right way, you're setting yourself up for a letdown, and that's always a possibility.
Does this team give you more concern than other teams, or do you think this team can handle it better than maybe other teams?
Well, I don't know how we're going to handle it. I mean, there's one thing I'm sure of, because they always do this. They play hard, and they don't quit. And they've been doing that since day one. So I know we'll play hard, and I know we won't give up. Now, there's been times in the past we haven't played very well. So it's a matter of preparing the right way and playing well enough to win.
Coach, you've been around a lot of football. I mean, a win like what you guys had up in Nevada over this team that was 6-1, best in the conference. What does that do for a team in terms of the intangibles, like morale, confidence? Can you overstress its significance? Like, are we making too much of a big deal of just one win?
I think there's a tendency to do that if it hadn't been done very much. And Mike has told me that since San Diego State's been playing Division I football, it's only been 5 times that a San Diego State football team, since 1969, it's only happened 5 times that a San Diego State football team was down by 11 or double digits in the fourth quarter and came back and won. So if it's only been done 5 times since 1969, I would say that's a pretty significant victory. And now the morale is great. I mean, our team was really, really happy after the game. They were really, really happy yesterday. They were. Now, how we handle that success is key to what we do from here on out.
But you as a coach, what is your approach? I mean, do you hype up the win, or do you try and downplay it to be like, don't get ahead of yourselves, we still have a lot of football left to play?
I mean, as we always do, we explain every situation to them. I mean, the situation is that game's over. We won, but it's long gone. And no one's going to even remember if we don't play well this week. Now, my experience is that athletes will listen sometimes and they don't listen sometimes.
Coach, can you talk about Chance Martin? It seems like over the last 3 games, he's really found some confidence and gotten in a groove.
He has. He's kicked the ball really, really well. And I'm sure that in his case, the confidence factor is a big deal. It really is a big deal for kickers. And, obviously you saw it the other night. He made 3 of them, one with 3 seconds left on the clock to put it into overtime. That's a pretty confident kicker. I think our kicking game has improved. Our kickers have improved. I have to say that the right way. Our kickers have improved more than anybody else on our team.
What do you think kind of sparked that? Just more reps?
Yeah, I think it's just playing. In Chance's case, it's the first time he's ever played football since high school. And Seamus is a freshman.
Coach, what the athletic department as a whole, your team is doing well, as you listed things that you have a chance to do. The men's basketball team is ranked in the top 20 preseason. The women's soccer team has won a conference championship, ranked in 6th in the nation. The attitude of the athletic program here at San Diego State, can you touch on that right now?
Well, I think what you have is a great organization from the top down. And you have experienced quality coaches that have done a good job recruiting, and then they can put their players in a position that they can perform, and if they're good enough, they perform well and they win some games. I mean, you won't find a better basketball coaches than our 2 basketball coaches in the entire country. Now, as good as a coach might be, you still have to recruit talented players because there's a lot of good coaches not winning games, and that means they don't have good enough players. But the coaches recruit them too, so.
Does the success of all the programs help your recruiting, like the basketball programs or anything else help your football recruiting, do you think? Is there a little bit?
I think there's a little help. Any time you have success throughout an athletic department, it helps everybody. It helps just the morale in this building. It helps the morale in the weight room. It makes every team practice a little harder, work out a little bit harder. I mean, they all feed on each other. Just like it could be the other way, too.
Coach, I noticed Dominic Sanford got the start at receiver this week. I mean, he's had a couple of pretty good games, it looks like. What are you guys seeing out of him?
Oh, I think he had a great game the other night. I mean, he caught several passes. A couple of them were difficult catches, and the run he made with the ball on a bubble screen that scored a touchdown, that was a great play. Either that or it was a terrible tackle by their safety, depending on which side of the ball, which team you're rooting for. And as is the case in most of our positions, not all of them, but most of them, it's a weekly competition. Somehow we don't believe that around here, but it's a weekly competition. I mean, we've got 4 or 5 what we consider very good wide receivers. Well, they compete every week to see who gets the start. Now, there are certain positions, there's nobody going to beat Leon McFadden out. I don't care how he practices this week. He's starting on Saturday. I mean, and we don't really care how Adam Dingwell practices this week. He's starting Saturday. But in a lot of positions, it's a weekly competition.
One of the new starters, Derek Larby start next week. He's probably going to start this week.
You think he's going to start this week?
Well,
I'm gonna tell you after the game on Saturday, Van Ness Harris has made a case. So who starts there will be how they practice this week. Van Ness played really well Saturday night, maybe better than Derek did.
Look, can you talk a little bit about Large? Because I know he wasn't recruited much. He got offered like past the deadline and all that. Is he doing everything I expected him to be doing?
I think I think he's played better than we anticipated. When we recruited him on athletic ability, and we did recruit him in high school, but didn't actually offer him a scholarship, but we had thought about it when he was in high school, so we kept track of him when he went to junior college. But it was really a need for a guy that could come in that was big enough and strong enough that could maybe be depth and help on special teams. So he has exceeded our expectations of his first year here, and the best thing is he's 3 for 3, which means he's really only a sophomore eligibility-wise. So he's going to he still makes some assignment errors and does some things because he's not sure of our scheme yet. He's going to get nothing but better. And he's got a lot of athletic ability, and he's big and strong, and he can run well, and he's one of our better pass rushers.
Coach, you coached Miles Burris, a pretty good linebacker. Do you see some of that in Derek Larby?
They're about the same size. I don't see him the same, not that he won't develop it, because a lot of it has to do with knowing exactly what to do. He doesn't have the same explosion or acceleration that Miles had yet. And some of that might be just that he's thinking too much. And as soon as he's confident in what his assignment is, he might have that same thing. I don't think you can compare the two right now, no.
The 2-point conversion at the end of the game, how much was it keeping your defense off the field, or are you seeing something in the offense? Because it looked like you ran a similar play a few plays before that, the play action and the drag across the field. Did you see something, or was it more of just keeping your defense off the field, being unable to stop that Nevada offense?
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with the defense. Otherwise, we would have taken the penalty, and so that the defense had a better chance to stop them before the last drive. In fact, it was totally a decision made on momentum. They really struggled to score in overtime, really struggled. And if we don't have an assignment errors, they don't score. Okay, they would have had to kick a field goal. But so I thought they kind of struggled. When you get the ball on the 25-yard line, the chances of stopping them are very, very slim. So I thought they struggled to score, and we scored in 2 plays. Plus, we had just driven the ball 60 yards or something in 50 seconds to kick a game-tying field goal. Who had the momentum? You going to let them stay in the game when you got all the momentum? So people think it was a hard decision. It seemed pretty simple to me.
I was wondering what took you so long.
In fact, I called timeout because the offense had already sent the kicking team in.
Right.
So I had to call timeout to get them off the field.
Coach, what does Gavin Escobar add to your offense? I mean, the touchdown catch that he got, it seemed like he just wanted to go into the end zone. He wasn't going to go out of bounds, anything like that.
You know, he hasn't caught as many passes this year because we have better wide receivers, or we have not better. We have more wide receivers this year, more guys that can make plays than we did last year. So he's not quite the focal point of our offense that he was last year. But you see why he's good. I mean, he's 6'6" and he weighs 255 pounds and he catches almost everything. And then what you saw him do after he caught the ball was kind of special too for a guy that size.
His athletic ability?
Oh no, he's a great athlete. You know, there's a chance this might be the last time you see him too. I mean, he's a junior, and I would say that there's people looking at him at the next level.
Back to the two-point conversion, did you have anything else off of that play, or was that ball going to Adam Roberts, and if he was uncovered, then Bingwell had to just make something happen?
The statement that was a very similar play to the one that Gavin Escobar caught for the touchdown, they were exactly the same play, different formations and different guys. People do that all the time. And if you remember, after the long kickoff return at the Colorado State game, Colorado State ran the exact same play against us, and it worked just as well. I mean, that's a very difficult play to stop. Is there anybody else to throw it to? Nope. And if that guy's not open, it's up to the quarterback to scramble around. Yes.
Anything else for Coach? Okay.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Coach.